All right, everybody, welcome to our first Sports Extra Overtime. This is going to be a little bit of a different thing from Sports Extra. It's going to be a little less formal. Pat and I are just going to kind of digest the night of football and just be two dudes talking about football. Pat, you've been doing this for 35 years, obviously. A lot of things have changed now. It's obviously it's not what it has been. So, maybe for you, what was the environment like here tonight?
It was, so I went up to Century for the Lourdes and St. Charles game. And it was just weird because usually we have the sidelines to ourselves where we can go up and down. We can talk to the coaches. We might, chat with a player or two as we're working. That wasn't possible tonight. I had to be back on the track inside the 10-yard line, and I had to be in the end zone shooting. So we didn't have that freedom on the sideline to get the great shots. So a couple of us were forced. You went upstairs, Chuck went upstairs, Micah stayed on the field, but sometimes we have to go in the stands and shoot. So it was different from that perspective, not being so close to the action, talking with the refs, talking with the chain gang, all that kind of stuff. So that was different. It was more, I felt more alone and more isolated, which you have to be during these times. But it was good to see football. It was a beautiful night.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I noticed was just how much you hear. Just when there's not as many fans, there's 250 people in a football stadium where it stands. It's nothing. Like, you look around and there's just hardly anybody around you in the stands. Like, I'm standing here. I'm right next to the coach's box at both games I was at, and I literally, everyone within 100 feet can hear every single word that they're saying. Every single time. When I was at the Zimbrota game, every single time you can hear kind of what Will Cheddar is saying when he's playing quarterback for Stewartville. It's crazy. Actually, one of the biggest things that shocked me was the penalties. You can hear the referee's call. Honestly, when you're out there most of the time, you see the hand motion, you see them go through, but you really have no idea what they're saying. But it's crazy how much more you can hear in this Corona era.
Right. Hey, Tim, if you can, the Lourdes Chuck highlights, can you roll those? And it just has, see, there's the stadium. That was the Lourdes end, so that's their 125 or whatever. But I have to be in the end zone here, and you can see, normally I would be at this point, but it's a different perspective where you have to get those shots. So then I moved on the other side. So you got to go on either side of the 10-yard line. You can't shoot on the 40, 30, or 20. So it does work. It's just a little more work, but sometimes you can miss that shot, and then obviously plays like that, they come right at you. So different. We're getting used to it. The players are getting used to it. The refs. One thing interesting I did see tonight, there were a couple of guys that I knew that are going to be refs next year. And there's been a shortage of referees. And so I saw that tonight. I saw a veteran official standing with a new official, going over the rules and going over things that happen on the field. So as far as that perspective, because we have games tomorrow.
Yeah, and then another thing about the officials is sometimes when you see a coach kind of giving the officials the business, now you might be able to hear what's being said there. It's just kind of crazy. Or sometimes like a player makes an outstanding play and you kind of can hear what they're saying. These are things that just kind of get lost in the blur of just normal fans out there. But, well, maybe, Pat, obviously you've seen a lot of football. Any players pop out to you tonight? Any surprises? Anything that you saw?
Right away, Chewy and the Kingsland Knights. It's been tough for them for a number of years. And to see them win tonight and those kids play well, Chewy's influence, he was a winner in high school. His son now plays. I noticed that. Goodhue throwing the football was something we don't see all the time. Lourdes, they pounded the football. The Graham Hopkins, I think his name is, they're going to ride him a lot this season. So, those are things that I noticed. And Will Cheddar has that magic touch with the football as he does with the basketball.
He really does. Especially for a guy, he plays the 4. He plays a stretch 5. He shoots the ball. He's a really big guy. But it's just, when you're watching him out there, and he just has this odd elusiveness that is really hard to explain for someone of his size. It's just amazing how that guy can use his body. And then there were a couple times he just made some of these throws, and it's just like, that kid can throw the heck out of the football. It's just an outstanding athlete. But I think we saw multiple quarterbacks that point guards that played quarterback. Reed Johnson, I'm pretty sure, is a point guard. And then Justin Woolers. He's definitely a guard for Lake City. But anybody else pop out to you, Pat? Anybody?
Yeah, this summer, did Mr. Cheddar hang out with a kid named Eli King?
Yeah.
And
Man.
didn't you go somewhere on Thursday and check that out?
Yeah, there was just an
ahead.
outstanding picture that was on Twitter. It was like Will Cheddar, Eli King, Noah King, Eli King, the Madsen twins, Alyssa Usby. And they're all just playing basketball at Will Cheddar's farm. I mean, it's just like we've been blessed to see tremendous basketball here in this area, obviously with the section championship games and there's just tremendous basketball, but maybe the best basketball that has been played was at Will Cheddar's farm when nobody was watching. It's just an absolutely incredible thing there. Well, I guess we're going to have some more stuff coming up, but now maybe for that feature that was promised, the Caledonia Warriors have won everything possible in the last 5 seasons that there is to win, but this year will have a different ending than their last half decade. But while this season won't end with a state title, it still has plenty of meaning down in Titletown. Football means a little bit more in Caledonia. The Warriors are the 5-time defending Class AA champions, but the mind-boggling numbers don't stop there. At 68 games, Caledonia owns the longest win streak in the nation. In their last 11 Prep Bowl quarters, they haven't allowed a point. But things will be different this year because there's no state title to play for.
It was disappointing, but we're just looking at it as trying to win every game that we do get to play and make the most of every single opportunity we get.
Making the most of this opportunity is exactly what Caledonia is going to do. For the Warriors, football is about more than wins and losses. It's about turning boys into men and reaping the benefits of football in the process.
It's always about, character, revealing your character every practice, every game. And yeah, it stinks that there's not a state championship, but at the end of the day, we have games and we have the ability to make ourselves a better human being every practice and every game.
There's nothing typical about this year's football season. The Warriors, like any truly great program, have adjusted and adapted to the circumstances that lay before them.
I think our kids handle it better than most adults. They've been very classy. They're frustrated, and they have a right to be. We've tried to talk them through it, and they've handled it like champs.
Now the Warriors shift their focus to a challenge unlike any they've seen in their 5-year run. A season that will conclude with no true champion.
We just want to come out and enjoy it, and obviously a little disappointed that no state tournament, but we just want to come out and enjoy each game.
We've been looking forward to it. We've been hoping that we did get the chance to step out there and play, and we're all very excited.
The Warriors will kick off their season tomorrow night at home against the PEM Bulldogs. And Pat, the other day when I was at practice, there was this kid. He's just a massive human being, and he's kicking field goals, just booting this ball unbelievably strong. And I'm talking around with Carl, one of the other assistants of our people affiliated with the program, and they're telling me this kid, he's a junior, Logan Bonzi. He is being recruited by Division I schools. Carl Frichte was telling me that Nebraska wants to come check this kid out. So he's on one end. On the other side, they have Casey Schultz. He's going to play at University of North Dakota. So those are your bookend defensive ends. Imagine being a quarterback looking like that. And then now Eli King, last year, wide receiver offered by Notre Dame, Minnesota, the whole 9 yards. This kid is so good. He can cut on a dime. He's stepping into the shoes at quarterback, replacing his 2 older brothers. It's just they just reload down there. I don't
They do
understand.
it different. It's quite a place. They talk about Warrior water. I think there's some truth to that down there.
And then they have this other kid, Austin Kluge. He throws a fastball 90 miles per hour. He's been offered by NDSU. It's unbelievable. It's just kind of crazy, though, when you go down to Caledonia and you watch the organization of their practice, how they practice with such purpose. And it's just like, well, no wonder these guys have such a program in place that lasts for years and years and years. It's just
same thing in Owatonna.
Oh, Jeff Williams.
Yeah, same. You see those 2 practices, you just go, wow, these guys are they're cut from a different cloth and they run things a different way, and that's kind of the way they are. Hey, we got high school football tomorrow. There's 6 or 7 games. Caledonia's home. John Marshall will host Century. Mayo's on the road at Owatonna. Pine Island's at home at 1 o'clock. It's against Red Wing. Byron is home tomorrow night. So we'll have highlights of a number of those games tomorrow. So kind of hope you liked our little thing here. We're going to add more. We're going to talk to refs. We're going to do phone interviews. We're going to get into some questions. If you're fans and you want to ask a couple questions about games, we'll get into that. But we just had to dip our toe in the water tonight and kind of check things out and see how it's going. So,
Pat, you got one more thing, though, about college football tomorrow. You looking forward to anything? Because we got the
I know.
Let me get it here. Tomorrow, that's right, baby. You see that. The Canes are taking on Clemson. We're 14-point dogs. They have Trevor Lawrence, but we have the best defensive line in America. Canes, 38, Clemson, 31. We'll end with that. How do you think, Pat?
Aren't my Ole Miss Rebels playing Alabama tomorrow?
Yeah. Do you see Lane Kiffin? He said that he could cover Nick Saban. Who knows?
I could cover Nick Saban.
Yeah, who knows? I'd love to see that. All right.
Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next Friday on Sports Extra, and including the overtime. Have a good weekend.